Hello, everyone. I'm Sam Eckmann of Gold Derby, and I am here with Emmy-winning makeup artist Lisa Love, the makeup department head for The Stand, the new miniseries from Stephen King's work. And Lisa, the first thing I want to jump into, I think, is these really bulbous, grotesque necks that everyone has. Because The Stand, Stephen King starts this off with a pandemic, which is crazy timing, but he's very descriptive about the symptoms of this, and everyone starts their necks fill up with fluid. How did you go about translating that to the screen?
Well, our special effects team and myself, we got together and they basically did all these drawings. And we brought it to the producers and the showrunner, and they sort of picked through what they wanted. And then we went to go do tests. The regular makeup department, which was myself, we did like stage 1 and 2 when they were just showing the discoloration and the disease was just coming out. And Toby Lindola, his team, did the actual prosthetics. And I just remember being at his studio when they were doing it, and it was absolutely like so incredible, and just getting the goo down right. Toby gave us some of his stuff, and I just sort of formulated it and just said, no, we needed a bit more like this, a bit more like this. And he's just so quick and so accommodating that he was able to nail it for me. Because we had that one scene at the very early on in the pandemic when Larry had slept with one of his groupies, and she's waking up and it sticks to the pillowcase. And yeah, that was great. And Toby made that for us as well.
Yeah, it's always interesting to me to find the delineations behind the scenes of what team handles what, because in so many cases it's a collaboration and amalgamation of different departments. How do you decide sort of what needs to be handled by you versus visual effects or prosthetics?
Yeah, I mean, producers. They're usually the ones that will tell us who's doing what, and then they'll come to me and they'll say, like, can you handle this? And at the very, very beginning of a show, we do camera tests, and that's when the producers will come to me and say, what can you take on and what should we pass on to this department? And so, Harold's cuts, all of those, like the makeup department, I did those. And then the big necks, because it was a huge silicone prosthetic, it just takes time, and I wouldn't have been able to do, the stars of the show without having Toby there.
And when you're working on an adaptation like this, there's always moments where certain things have to be adjusted because you're in a different medium. So how do you sort of straddle the line between, strictly adhering to the visual language that Stephen King described in the novel versus translating something to the screen and having it deviate?
Right. I was super fortunate because these cast members that were hired were first and foremost huge Stephen King fans, and they knew exactly the combination of what they wanted to bring and what they wanted to stay true of. And once again, Harold was a great example of that. And we really did, him and I came up with his look, and it's subtle, but when we first meet him, he has, all these pock marks on his face. And I added a few of those. And then when the evil would come in, I actually did a technique with just a little bit of dirt on top of each other and and then a wash of all over. And once again, it was just subtle because the lighting was so good. And it wasn't anything that somebody could be like, ugh, but with his acting and where he wanted to take that character, he was able to get there really quickly. I saw him transform in my chair. Every day I would see him transform. And then when he was becoming the evil Harold, but trying to still be good, I mean, we covered up the imperfections in the skin like you would, a normal actor, right?
Yeah.
So the actors brought it and wanted it. So I was lucky to have these people that wanted to play with the characters.
Yeah.
A lot. So it was easy.
And one of the biggest actors, of course, is Whoopi Goldberg, who plays Mother Abigail, which is a very fabled Stephen King role, and has to become a 108-year-old woman. So what was the process of finding that look for her?
Well, Toby did illustrations for that. And we presented them to Whoopi. Whoopi definitely got the last say in it. So there was a couple of things that Whoopi was like, no, I'm not going to have like a little wart on my chest. Like, that's not going to happen. And then of course, she did her dreads in gray, which was fantastic. She got that done. And then there was just a little bit of upkeep from the hair department. And it was just like, she just brought it and it was perfect. So it was a collaboration between the producers, the directors, and Whoopi and Toby effects for her specific look.
How long do you think it usually took her to get into all that? It seems like a enormous amount of work.
Yeah, they got it down quite quickly. Like, I'm going to say, under 2 hours.
Wow. That seems pretty good to me. I'm not a makeup artist, but that seems pretty short for the amount of
and she just made it like really fun for the guys in the trailer as well. Like, she just brought humor and laughter and kindness. So it was, I did her makeup, just a regular face makeup for our press conference that we were doing, and just having her with me just for that little bit of time, it was like hand on heart. She was just so lovely. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's a great connection.
To work with somebody like that much of a pro and that much of a big heart, big star. Mm-hmm. It's unique.
Yeah. And her counterpart, her evil counterpart in the show is Randall Flagg, played by Alexander Skarsgård. And did you think of, when you're designing the makeup for them, did you think of them as sort of, how do I show sort of like the flip side of a coin?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I did want him to look evil. I mean, what we took from the book was just that dusty look. Like, they just say that he is dusty. So with Alex, it was very much like layered dirt effects. I took a wet cloth and took dried dirt and put it over his entire face, and then took other dirt, like rubber dirt that can adhere with a little bit of tell us, like, just a little bit of glue, like, to the face, and we would drop that in. So it was this layered look. I took a little bit of a darky greeny black eyeshadow for the top and brought it down below the lash line, and then in the waterline I sealed it with red. Kept his beard really nice and trimmed.
And his queen, Nadine, played by Amber Heard, this character survives a bit longer in the miniseries than she does in the book. So we get to spend a bit more time with her in that state where she's sort of under Randall Flagg's spell, and has a really sort of gruesome look. Her look is actually what shakes her out of it in a way. Right. How did you come up with that?
That was like inspired like a lot from past shows, like, a little bit of Tim Burton even, and his makeup artists. I like that shallow look, but I didn't want it just to be under here. Like, it needed to be more ghoulish than that. So Whoopi didn't get the spots. Well, Nadine got the spots and wanted the spots. So, it was a combination of airbrushing and also using makeup brushes on top of that. And everything had a pale green kind of tinge to it. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she's so bloody beautiful that it's like, come on, like, help me out here.
Well, you did a good job of making her look like a
Oh, well,
ghoul. So,
thanks. Because I still saw it like this pretty girl, but yeah, I've heard that. So thank you very much.
and the whole set of New Vegas, the set and the production design and the just the extras all kind of combined to sort of form a character in itself.
Mhm.
So how did you think about like the citizens of New Vegas, because they're all very extravagant looking and have these really larger than life looks?
Well, right from the very beginning, working with Angelina, our costume designer, was key for me. Angelina was very generous with information and forthcoming with information. And then Aaron's design, when you walk into not just the Vegas set, but other sets, it made me as an artist want to bring more because he had done such a good job. Like I get so much inspiration from other artists. I draw off of their greatness, let's say. So Angelina did do tests, like brought in all the BG to pre-fit them. And I had somebody there from the makeup department. And so it would be like, these are the dancers. And so we would take pictures of them. These are the patrons, and anybody who had tattoos, we wanted to use the tattoos. So we had to go back and do our homework with these actual BG people and get their tattoos signed off. And then the ones that weren't signed off, you would have to really drastically change it. So we would probably cover it up and redo something else entirely different. And then we mixed up, I got some glitter, of course, from New Orleans, from Mardi Gras. It's like the best. And just, we put glitter on some of these dancers and they just popped. There was a couple there, and I was like, he basically was just wearing like a little leather outfit that you would see at a leather rally. And his girlfriend actually kissed him. She agreed to like put kisses all over his body. I mean, it was fantastic. Like these BGs, they brought it to the show, and they were, like you said, they were very much a part of the show themselves. They were a character. They were great.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed working with them.
It really contributed to the overall environment, I think.
Oh, they did. And just, how they would look up at Flagg when he was there. I really like the fact, like how they edit that, because when the one man churns on Flagg, they didn't shoot it that everybody just turned on Flagg, that it was like, oh, hey, get him,
Yeah.
So I really liked that detail too, that they did. I thought it was really important that not everybody just turned on somebody that they looked up to for so long. Yeah. There was definitely Team Flagg in the makeup room.
And one of the most special things I think about this miniseries is that the final episode is a coda to the original story that's written by King himself. And what was it like getting to work on a script that's really truly a surprise for the audience, because no one has seen, he's been kicking around this idea for years, but this is the first time we're seeing this part of the story.
Yeah, how true. I loved it. And we shot that with the first episode. So we literally shot those two back to back. And I loved it. I loved the whole fact that he was coming out in Machu Picchu somewhere in the middle of the Amazon, and making the Amazon people were great. We put bald caps on people, and then, put the wig part / so they had the bald part. We put a bald cap on a baby child. I have to get you that picture. Yeah. Because it's a really cool picture to have. Because it wasn't really too much seen in the show. It was hard to see because he was the little boy running away, but it was so much fun shooting that scene. It brought a lot of life, I thought.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I really liked it.
And I also have to ask you before we finish up because at Gold Derby we are, cover all aspects of the awards races, and you are a previous Emmy winner for Tin Man.
Yes.
You had great makeup work on that. It's
Thank you.
with Zoe Deschanel and Alan Cumming, Neil McDonough, and looking back on that experience, winning the Emmy, what did that mean for you, and do you think it opened up new doors after that?
Well, it definitely opened doors after that. I mean, when you do become, I had gotten O1s to come into the States before, and O1s, they call you a special person. But after you win an award that your peers are saying you win, you don't become special anymore, you become extraordinary. So it did open up doors, and and it opened up my heart as well, because just the recognition for doing something that is my ultimate is fantasy. Like, I just love fantasy. And I love fantasy created with makeup, not necessarily just prosthetics. And on the Tin Man, I was able to do that a lot. It was mostly me. Like, I did the pygmies, I did, the beards, the mustaches. It was great. It was fantastic just to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah. Well, the fantastic work continues with The Stand. So thank you, Lisa, for talking with me about this miniseries. Everyone who's out there watching, make sure you subscribe to Gold Derby. Keep up to date with us throughout the season. And Lisa, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.